Hello everyone. So, I hope nobody had a heart attack with this video. The whole idea was I couldn't dive into the subject without having to share with you all my favorite childhood show as a child. So, as a kid, I would wake up every morning excited for a new episode of Art Attack. You see, Art Attack to me was more than just a show, it was a ritual. I would wake up, pull all my art supply, and as the episode starts, I would start to create an art piece every single time. And that was the first encounter for my love for art and creativity. This passion grew with me across the years. Through primary school, middle school, high school, art remained my favorite subject. And as high school came to an end, I found myself standing between two roads, having to pick between my passion, which seemed somewhat of a risky road, while going with a more stable career path that has a more structural sense to it. Standing in front of you here today, graduating from this college, I'm pretty sure a lot of you know the answer. Yes, I picked medicine. And you might be wondering, why in the world didn't you go for a creative field instead? Well, to answer that question, I would like to take you back in time to where my headspace was when making that decision. You see, art was always mine. It was my space of freedom and self-expression and my comfort zone. And I wasn't willing to lose that side of me in exchange for a paycheck, a deadline, or an expectation. With that being said, I was very selfish with my art, at least for the time being. Medicine, on the other side, it intrigued me. It triggered my curiosity. It was as if it's a challenge asking me to come on board. And speaking of a challenge, it definitely was. You see, medicine taught me determination, discipline, and having to dedicate my time, energy, and effort to someone else. It was intentional, precise, calculated, because someone else depended on me. It was the complete opposite of art. It was selfless. And there's a beauty in that duality between the selfish and the selfless, between the devotion to yourself and the devotion to someone else. And within that relation and connection between the two, I felt a beauty that was always within me. But at first, I didn't know how to bring the marriage of art and medicine together. As the years went by, and as throughout medical school, and as I started working as a physician, I started to see medicine as a form of art in its own way. Whether it's through the communication with patients and their family, history taking, examination, or having to think of different diagnoses, treatment plans, and even when it came to respecting the patient's dignity, decision making, and also their privacy. You see, medicine became more than just a science. It had a humane factor to it as well. And so there was still this fire in me. I wanted to believe that there was more of a deeper connection between art and medicine than what meets the eye. I wanted them both to be two different sides of the same coin, strengthening one another instead of canceling each other out. And so out of desperation came that search for inspiration. I wanted to look at examples of scientists, physicians, mathematicians, and many more, and whatever it takes, that complemented their work with a creative side of them, whether it's art, music, dance, philosophy, poetry. I wanted to see how prolific examples such as Einstein, Newton, Ibn Sina, and many more that fell into that category were able to synergize their creative side to soften the edge of science and to see beyond the facts to help us have the inventions procedures, and tools that we see and use today. And there's more and more evidence that confirms that having to bring science and art together will provide us with amazing results. An example of that is an experiment that was done where you had the medical professions and the healthcare providers were together, invited into museums and art exhibitions. They were asked to work as a team. And with that idea, they were asked to interpret different artworks. At first, you might think it's a doctor, a nurse, and a pharmacist, and a medical student, kind of just discussing art. But in reality, they're discussing together what it's like to work as a team, respecting different views, and having to come with the best solution to treat a patient in a clinical setting. So when looking at a portrait or any artwork of any form, you might see colors, shapes, but in reality, we're seeing feelings and emotions. The same way we also approach our patients. We see their fears, their doubts, their suffering. So having to have that capability of being familiar with art help physicians to become more sharper in their observation skills, while also having further empathy for their patients. And as long as there's a student who's eager to learn and a physician who's eager to explain to their patients, medical illustrations will forever remain necessary to diminish this communication dilemma. So whether it's the anatomical figures we see in Gray's Anatomy, or the histological layers of the skin, or even having to explain complex procedures in the form of diagrams or figures, medical illustrations will forever simplify complex information into that is easy to understand. As humans, we're more than just a body. We are memories, stories, as well as passions, interests, and personality. A great example of that, if we were to look at the human body and anatomy from a deeper perspective, would be the Body World exhibition. The concept of the exhibition is to introduce the audience to the inner working of our body, while also looking at the healthy and unhealthy lifestyles on us, while also encouraging people to admire the anatomical beauty that lies in each and every one of us, while also having to acknowledge the inescapable fact about our fragility, mortality, and life cycle. Other examples of artists that are able to display the body in a memorable and meaningful manner would be Dustin Yale, who in a series of his artworks that he refers to as psychogeographics, he displays the human body in a very kind of complex way of different maps of psychology, while also showing that we're more connected than we think, allowing further conversations. Another example is Ahmed Matar, a Saudi artist who's also a physician himself. He once said, "I am a doctor and confront life and death every day. I am a countryman at the same time. I am the son of this strange, scary oil civilization. In 10 years, our lives changed completely. For me, it is a drastic change that I experience every day." Dr. Matar uses his platform as an artist and a doctor to tell the story of those changes in our community and culture. Art will always remain a great medicine. It's a way that helps patients heal in their hardships, during their hardships. And for me, it was always a source to escape the hardships and stress of medical school, as well as a long shift at work, to help me unwind and reconnect with myself. So during those days of burnout, take a moment to yourself and ask, what are your ambitions? What are your dreams? What is it that you truly want to do? And for me, there was this one dream, and this dream came true. The dream was to put together an exhibition that brings medical professions and artists on the same exact grounds. The idea was to reflect medicine while honoring Islamic art in a way that was never done before. The art exhibition was conducted by medical students in collaboration with local and international artists. It was displayed in an international book fair here in Jeddah and visited by many people from different backgrounds and age groups. The engagement was mind-blowing. And it was a proud moment for me, because having to see my two passions and love for art and medicine come together. To finish off my presentation, I would like to end with a verse from the Quran. وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ, which translates to, and also in yourselves, do you not see? I invite you all to look at the inner beauty of your making, and to also always remember, no matter how demanding your job is, take a moment to listen to your inner voice and ask, what is it that I have within me that I can offer beyond a job description? Thank you.